Shabbat Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them and taught us this truth. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, to the Akwat that are listening and learning and being a pillar of rest, the 144,001 the hopeful elect of Israel. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily Update. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you as well. Let's start at Revelation 11 and 14, and we're going to show you World War III in the Bible. The second woe is past. And behold, the third woe, right? The third woe cometh quickly. The third woe is referring to World War III. The second woe is past, referring to World War II. If we go back to 9, we get all three of them. So lucky, let me see. One woe, the first woe, World War I, is past, and behold, there come two woes more. There's three. 1 plus 2 is 3. All three world wars being spoken of in the Bible. So with that, let's get an update on World War III. Battlefield Earth, another step towards which world war is that? If 1 and 2 have already passed. Undoubtedly 3. This is the Military and Foreign Affairs Network 1 hour ago. Let's listen to the voice of reason.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're continuing our ongoing coverage of the war between the Russian Federation and the Ukraine. Now, within the last 48 hours, Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, United States of America, has declared that Ukraine will become part of NATO. And he said this in absolute terms. Now, part of the ongoing NATO charter is that no third party can deny NATO membership. Now, that third party would be the Russian Federation. Any European nation state can seek to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, according to NATO. NATO was designed as a defensive alliance protecting Western Europe against the Soviet Union. That is what it originally was for. Now, in the age of globalism, we have seen that NATO mandate change. And this is where you have to look at the Russian perception. It first started in terms of that mandate, the NATO mandate. It first started to change in 1999 with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization attacking Serbia. The reason the North Atlantic Treaty Organization attacked Serbia, again, Serbia was not threatening any NATO member state. Serbia was not threatening Italy. They were not threatening the Germans. No one. Not the Greeks, the Turks, no one. They were having an internal dispute with Albanians living in Serbian territory in Kosovo. Now, NATO proceeded to articulate that because of alleged ethnic cleansing happening in Kosovo, that was threatening NATO member states. They were arguing that the displacement of refugees would have a destabilizing impact on NATO member states. That's a stretch, but that is what they used as a pretext to attack Serbia. A humanitarian mission, but it had very much the operational tempo, the military operational tempo of regime change. They bombed Serbia for a couple of months and even threatened a ground operation. This was at a time just past the collapse of the Soviet Union. So at that time, the Russian Federation was fairly weak militarily. It did not have the capability, did not have the economic ability to intervene on behalf of its Serbian allies. Now, that was the first step by NATO in which it became, which some nation states perceive as an aggressive alliance, not a defensive alliance. Again, the Serbians were not threatening any other nation state. It was an internal dispute. Now, fast forward to
today in America, it's more important than ever to conceal carry. And the reason why is we are targets. We're targets of bad people trying to do bad things to people like us who believe in good things. Now, I know that you want to carry all day, every day, but a lot of times people find a reason not to carry, and it usually has something to do with their holster. Their holster's not comfortable.
Slovakia. Caught me off guard. Dog.
To Libya. The Libyan Revolution. Muammar Gaddafi. Obviously, Libya was controlled by an authoritarian dictatorship. Absolutely. And that brought about internal fighting, which morphed into a civil war. Under the guise of humanitarian operations, NATO again decided to intervene on the side of seeking to stabilize Libya. But is that what they were really doing? The operation that NATO launched, that NATO led against the Libyan government at the time, led by Muammar Gaddafi, that operation served very much as a regime change operation. Again, initially, it was spun. The false narrative was it was a humanitarian operation, followed by the actual operation, which was regime change. The military operation conducted by NATO was about regime change. And yes, it ended up leading to the death and overthrow of Gaddafi. And now Libya is in permanent civil strife and turmoil.
Okay. That's as far as I'll go on that. And he said Libya, yeah? Let's see. Libya there, and who else? Libya, and let's see. Bear with me. Who else? Libya, and I can't see it, so let me just get it. Let's get that real quick. Now, Libya just happens to be what? Oh, let's go right here. Here it is. Right here. So, Ethiopia and Libya with them. Persia, that's Iran. Ethiopia and Libya with them. Okay, now, I saw something yesterday. Libya, so put. Okay, so here's the way it reads. Okay, let's read the King James first. This is Ezekiel 38 and 5. And we'll read the broader context of this, but let me just do this first. Okay, so Persia, King James reads, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, right? But what is meant by Libya? What is meant by Ethiopia going back 2,000 years, right? And more, 2,000 plus years and some change, right? Well, Iran today, Iran, Cush is Ethiopia. Look how they put Libya equals North Africa. If you go back to an ancient map of Ethiopia, let's try that just to see. Ancient Ethiopian map. And we'll see how far it stretches, right? let's see. Because it's a lot bigger than Ethiopia today. Okay, what they call Ethiopia today. So let me see. Let's get images. Let's see how big Ethiopia. See, because Ethiopia used to be the whole continent, when you understand. Okay, the Ethiopian Sea. They're calling the continent Ethiopia at times. Africa, history of Ethiopia, maps of Ethiopia. Look how big it is. If all of this is Ethiopia, let me see. Okay, that's a lot of what we call today these different countries. I should ask a question. Was the African continent ever called Ethiopia, right? Question. Let's see what this says. Slovakia, bear with me. Guinea. The term Guinea, or English Guinea, became ever more popular to describe the region of West Africa. Okay, that's Guinea. Okay, until the mid and 17th century, the term Guinea or Ethiopia were popularly used to describe lands south of the Sahara. Lands? Was Africa ever known as Ethiopia? It says, Cora, I don't really. What was Ethiopia called in ancient times? That's enough. Africa get its name? Oldest countries in Africa. Continent. Let's see. Let's see. Kabbalah, including the Ethiopian Nubians. I'm just looking for a quick answer, so bear with me as I try to suss this. Ethiopia. Ethiopia, if Ethiopia means burnt face, isn't it talking about the whole continent? The land of Ham? Let's see, the country where Christianity first made first to the African continent, etymology. The name Africa was Ethiopia. See where I'm going with this? Even to entertain this, right, brings into question what is meant by Ethiopia, let's say 3,000 years ago. Okay, let's look at this. It's only a minute. Let's see what it says. Look at this. The name of our continent was not Africa, it was the continent. So to even see this brings some validity, right? Let's see. Am I able to watch this? Unless I go to Facebook. I don't Facebook, so let's see. Come on. Can we get it? Doesn't look like a vid, does it? Well, it sure is acting up. Well, that's as far as I'll go. But from what I understand, the entire continent at a time was called Ethiopia. Okay? So what are... And you see how they're trying to obscure that, right? Africa is a tribe, not a continent. Ethiopia is the... Let's see. Gonna show it. Slocky, bear with me. Come on now.
This is from
what? Come on.
the Stanford University archives. They're archives, they're maps of Africa. One of the reasons why I want you to understand this is simply because there's a Bible verse that says that the servants of Yahweh,
Ooh, right.
Khan, I'm going to show it to you. So the servants, the suppliants, the priests of Yahweh are the people that were beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, all right, or beyond the land of Cush, the rivers of the land of Kuwash. Khan, well, I want you to see here when I'm teaching lessons that, and I'm saying that the Atlantic Ocean used to be called the Ethiopic Ocean or the Ethiopian Ocean, and the entire continent of Africa was called Ethiopia.
That's all we need. Now let's go back to the scripture. So you got, when you put it in the context of time, when was Ezekiel on the timeline? BC? Was it AD? Was it BC? And how long ago? Let's say 2,500 years. Or let's get it, all right? We have kind of substantiated that the continent of Africa was at one time called Ethiopia. Now let's go to, where are we here? Let's see the time of Ezekiel, right? When, at what time was the prophet Ezekiel on the earth. Let's see if we can get a date. Okay, 57 BC. So that's 2,500 years, right? Right? 26. Let's call it 2,600 years. Okay? During the time of Ezekiel, okay, would probably correspond with that map. Going back here, Ethiopia. Going into this. Come on, man.
The deception
Oh.
are the new maps. You know, the old maps, if you can find them, which I've said several times that our archives, our history, our most valuable possessions that actually makes the world valuable, is in the archives of these elite universities among the European.
Look at Libya. How big is Libya? Is Libya just where they killed Gaddafi? No. Okay. Where does Libya start? Where does Ethiopia begin? What was it being called 2,600 years ago? Okay, now we go back to Ezekiel. Okay. Okay, North Africa, they're saying Libya, say Ethiopia, which must be southern. I don't know, is it the whole thing? Kush. Kush and Put. All of Africa, basically. That's what they're saying. And the whole continent, right? That's a lot of countries now that they've divided it up and put their own names on it. What were the names? Okay, so let's go to the whole thing. Let's go to King James. Okay. Now, in Ezekiel 38, we're dealing with Magog, or the land of Magog, which is Russia. Okay. And so this is describing Russia and how the Most High is going to send Russia into battle. And then here, it tells you who Russia's allies are. Okay. Iran, right? And then it says Ethiopia and Libya. But at the time of Ezekiel, does this refer to the continent of Africa? Or how far? A good chunk, at least, right? And then Libya, which would be the other chunk, constituting the whole continent. You see how that works? Now, when we go back here, okay, and we let him say that again. So here's Libya, right? Whatever this is this Libya right here? Where's Ethiopia? Down here? No, they're talking about a great swath of land, damn near the continent. So let's let him say that again.
That NATO led against the Libyan government at the time, led by Muammar Gaddafi. That operation served very much as a regime change operation. Again, initially, it was spun. The false narrative was it was a humanitarian operation, followed by the actual operation, which was regime change. The military operation conducted by NATO was about regime change. And yes,
and they've been regime changing. They had carved up the whole continent and installed puppet dictators. They killed Gaddafi. This is why, right, things are spiraling out of control, because this devil is not going to stop colonizing, taking people's land, setting up puppet governments, and raping and pillaging the entire land. He's not going to stop until he is stopped. And that's what we're watching right now. So anyway, I'm going to end it right there. It's a little geography lesson there. So, yeah. Battlefield Earth, another step towards World War. You forgot the number 3 right there. All right, so with that, let me see. Let's just get there. Let's get this. Okay. What is this? 9. Let's go back to 11. What is the culmination of World War III? Okay. It's Revelation 11 and 13. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. What city? Babylon the Great City. Okay. Same one being spoken of right here. Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of Babylon the Great City. Babylon, see, what great city? Babylon the Great City. Okay. Same as right here. The 10th part of Babylon the Great City fell. What is Babylon the Great? America. So when you know, you can spiritually discern what cities are being spoken of when they say Ethiopia. Are they talking about Ethiopia the way it's drawn on the map today, after they carved it all up, or during Ezekiel's time, right? Are they talking about that landmass, right? Because just look at what's going on in South Africa right now, all right? Edomites are getting straight kicked up out of it. Check out what's going on in what they call Niger, which is really the word nigger, right? Check out what's going on. So anyway, with that, we hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and a few sisters. With that, we're going to say Shabbat Shalom.